Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will see the polyfill for Promise.all, all settled and race. In previous video, we have saw the polyfill for map, filter, reduce, push, pop, shift, unshift. So please watch this video till end, so you'll get clarity about like how Promise.all and all settled and race these work, and then what is the logic behind that. And I promise you, you will never forget the promises in JavaScript. So after watching this video. So let's see in VS Code. So before that, we will see how Promise.all work. So let's create some promises that we can use in our Promise.all. So here I'm creating P1, promise1, need return new promise. Promise either can resolve or reject. So here I will give set timeout. And so we will resolve this promise after 1 second. Here I'll give. Here I will resolve it with the message promise1 resolve. I just copy paste this one for promise2, promise3, promise2, and promise3. So here I will give promise2 is resolved, and then here I'll provide 0, and here I'll provide 2 seconds. Now we'll see for the Promise.all. Here I'll have const result equal to Promise.all, and then we will provide all promises like P1. So we'll provide with the array. So we'll provide in array format P2 and P3, and then this will also return one promise. So here we have to get this value with this dot then. So if anything returning promise, then we will get the value. So here I'll response console this response console.log response. Or if something break, we can catch it with this catch method. Error console.log. Here we can get error. So I'll run this code. Let's see. So you got the response after 2 seconds because like all promises are getting resolved. So last we have one promise which is resolving after 2 seconds. So we got the promise1 and promise2 and promise is resolved. So if any promises get rejected, then this promise.all will get rejected with that rejected error message. So here I'll reject for demo purpose. So promise3 is rejected. Yeah. So now I'll run it. Yeah, promise3 is rejected. This is how Promise.all works. So if there is like in our project, if there is requirement, we have the multiple API, and then we need all the data. Like if something goes wrong, then we should not display that one. So in that case, we use this Promise.all. Yeah. So now we will create the polyfill for this Promise.all. So here we have to attach our custom method to this Promise.myall. So this is function. So this function will take promises as an argument. So these are the promises we are passing from here. So now what we'll do is we will call it. Simply we can copy this one. Comment, uncomment, and then promise.myall. So this is custom method we are creating. So this method also, like if we run this one, this method also should give the same response which we got with the Promise.all, which is like inbuilt method. So now we have to write some logic here so that like we can get the same response. Yeah. So here we are getting this promise with array. So let's console it for just console.log promises. and then 3 promises we got in this array. And then here we are getting error because we are not returning anything from here. I mean, we are accepting with dot then, so this function must return some promise. So very first it will return new promise, and then this promise will have result or reject. And here we can have for each, so that like we can iterate all the promises from here. So this is promises, this is array, and then here we have promise. So once you understand the polyfill for Promise.all, then it is very easy to write the polyfill for Promise.all settle and race. So just understand like how like we are writing logic for this Promise.myall. Yeah. So here we are getting promise. So before that, what we can do is we have to write one count variable here. Let count equal to 0. I'll tell you like why we need count. So here we need result with array. So at the end we need some response which is there in array, so that like once all promises get resolved, then we can resolve these promises with the result value. Yeah. So let's see here. This is p1, p2, p3. These are the promise which like we are sending. So this is promise. So this promise either like have resolved or reject, and if it is resolved we will get in dot then, if it is rejected we will get with dot catch. So here we can have dot then here we can have response. And now what we'll do is we will write dot catch as well, dot catch, and then error. So very first if any promise is rejected, that promises we are passing from here, so immediately we will reject it. So with the reject message, and then we will have error. If promise resolved, then we can have like for the first promise we can have result dot push, and then we can push here response, and here we can have count plus plus. So because we have deal with first promise, so now we have to track here if count is equal to promises dot length. If this is true, then what we can do is we can resolve our promise with the result. So here let's see. So it will take the first promise. This is resolved. So now we have all promises are resolved. So it will take first promise, that is resolved. So it will come in dot then, and here that result we are pushing that response in result. We are increasing count by 1, and we are checking if count is double equal to promise dot length. So why we are doing this one? Because when we are on third promises, and that is also resolved, and then when it comes here, this will become 3, and then promise dot length is 3. All we have finished our all promises, and then we need result. So that's why we are resolving. And here, so we have to resolve. So this is, we have to give value here. So now let's see in console. Yeah, here we got promise 2 is resolved, promise 1 is resolved, and promise 3 is resolved. So it should get in sequence order. So why it is not getting in sequence order? Promise 1, 2, 3. So here what we have to do is, here we can have index. So we can attach this particular promise to this index. So here we can have result of I is equal to value. So here let's see. Yeah, promise 1, promise 2, and promise 3 is result. So now I'll reject a third promise. So I'm rejecting this third promise. Promise 3 is rejected. promise 3 is rejected, because any of promise is getting rejected, this will get rejected, like whole promise.myall. So this is how we can create the polyfill for this promise.all. So now we'll create the polyfill for promise.allSettled. So let's see first how allSettled work. So I'll comment this one as of now. So here we can have this allSettled. So let's see. So allSettled will get execute either that promise is resolved or rejected. So only the difference is we will get the value with some different format here, like status for the first promise, status is fulfilled, and then value is promise 1 is resolved. Yeah. And now for the second, fulfill and value is resolved. So if any promises get rejected, then we'll get the status as a rejected and then the reason value. So whatever the reason value of the promise. So now we will create the polyfill for this allSettled. So I'll comment this one, and then I'll comment out this one. So just we will modify here. I'll tell you my allSettled, and here we have my allSettled. So now we don't need count here. We need result, and here we can remove count, and here we can, I'll remove everything. I'll just put dot then and dot catch here, and here we need finally. Actually here we need count. Let count equal to 0. So when the promises get resolved, so what it will come here. So we can have a result of I, that is first promise, which have 0th index. So we can simply assign object something like this: status is equal to fulfilled, and the value is whatever the promise value is there. So we can have status is equal to fulfill. Yeah. And then here we can have value is equal to value, whatever the value which is coming from this promise. So same thing in result, we can have status is equal to rejected, and this value is equal to, so here we will give reason, and then reason equal to error. So now we have created a response something like this. So now we have to resolve it when all promises iterate successfully. Here in finally we can increase count by 1, because on every promise this finally block will get executed. So we are increasing count by 1 here. For the first promise it will become 1, the second it will 2, the third it will become 3. So now here we can write one condition: if count equal to promises.length. If both are same, then we can simply resolve it with the result. So let's see in console, this third is we are rejecting. We should get the same output like this. We got error promise.then dot catch finally is not a function. So then catch finally. Yeah, so there is some spelling mistake in finally. Yeah. So we got the same status that we were getting with the promise.allSettled. So for the first we got fulfilled, promise 1 is resolved, and for the third promise we got rejected, promise 3 is rejected. Yeah. So even if we resolve third promise, so we should get something like this: fulfill, fulfill, fulfill. Yeah. So this is how promise.allSettled work under the hood. So now we will create the polyfill for promise.race. So let's see. So I'll comment this for now. And then I'll comment out this one. So promise.race. So promise.race will give first promise, either the promise is resolved or rejected. So let's see in console. So here we got promise to resolve, because promise.race will give first promise, which either the promise is resolved or rejected. So now we'll create the polyfill for the same. I'll comment this one, and then I'll comment out this one. Here we can have promise.race, and then here, sorry, my race. I'll remove this one. And finally also I'll remove. We don't need finally block here. Logic is very simple. So here simply we can resolve if that first promise is resolved with the value, and here we can have in the catch we can have rejected with the error message. Yeah. So this is very simple. We don't need count here, and we don't need result. So because we'll get that particular promise value as a result, so we don't need this. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, here we got promise to is result. So now I'll increase some time from here, 2 seconds, and then I'll reject third promise. Promise 3 is rejected. I will give here 0. So let's see in console. Yeah, here we got promise 3 is rejected. So promise.race will give the first promise, which is either resolved or rejected. So this is how we can create the polyfill for promise method. So once you understand the polyfill for Promise.all, then it is very easy to write the polyfill for remaining method. I hope you understood and found this video as a helpful. Then please do subscribe to my channel. We will see next polyfill video. Till then, bye bye.